And hello, you absolute lovelies. Let's talk all about Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 2. This is going to be full spoilers for the second episode of Daredevil Born Again, so please have watched all of it through the end, because we're going to talk about the end and what it sets up. If you're new to this page, I cover movies, I cover TV, and I cover comic books. I read about 50 comics a week, and I break down movies and TV with that lens of loving comic books, and do a live stream every single week talking about books. So this show is very much my jam, and I'm going to dive in from that perspective of I'm so proud of Marvel for making things this bold and this topical with their characters. Right now in the comic books, the Ultimates, which is the Ultimate Avengers, and the Ultimate Universe is imagine an alternate universe that is using the characters you know and love, but in more modern ways. And this Ultimates universe is basically using Iron Man, Captain America, Hawkeye, versions of the characters that are billion-dollar IP to get into the business side of things. These huge characters are labeled as domestic terrorists because they're acting out against a fascist regime, a world that is controlling, that is not allowing freedom, and that is the world that this Avengers team is in, and that is a bold use of those characters. Likewise, Daredevil is a character that has often had to deal with corruption, that has often had to deal with brutality, that is often very protective of New York, and I'm very proud of Disney Plus. It's shocking to even say the words that tie into rebellion with Disney Plus, but this is a Disney Plus show that is dealing with the hypocrisy and atrocities of what we're dealing with people putting on masks and putting on badges and self-appointing themselves to things without training and causing horrors domestically. And I'm really proud of what this show is saying and doing and how it's saying it. I've loved Daredevil since I was a kid, and my understanding of Daredevil has evolved as I've matured, and my appreciation for Daredevil has grown as I've matured. What I'm really impressed by is now in the medium of television, I can say that's true as well, because the Daredevil Netflix show, which I think is one of the greatest adaptations of a comic of all time. I think that Netflix Daredevil is in the top 5 maybe thing that is based on a comic ever. And the way they handle nuance and layered subject matter is incredible. And now with this take on the appropriation of the Punisher symbol, the way it is being used exactly how our world misuses it, and then escalating that into a season 2 with basically having the AVT ice and utilizing that imagery while using comic storylines like vigilantism and the mayor, and all of the imagery of the mayor reminding me of a certain person. And a lot of that is really bold, and a lot of it is very much not a thing you'd expect the mouse to let their characters say. And so I was saying about the evolution of my love of Daredevil and other mediums. I coined the idea that I use all the time way back with season 1 of Daredevil, when I say, and if you follow this page, you probably have heard me say it, I think it's better when you care about both the hero and the villain, because then every punch lands twice. That thought first occurred to me in Daredevil season 1 because of Kingpin being so well written and so in love with New York that you cared about Daredevil's New York, and you saw, to a point, Kingpin's perspective on how much he loved his city. Now, that is so true with us caring about these characters and how every punch lands twice, because Daredevil Born Again Season 1 had the rise of Matt back into Daredevil and Wilson back into Kingpin. Now they're those characters, but now Kingpin is in power in a way that feels very familiar to our world, and so every punch that Daredevil lands against these AVTF lands so much differently. And I love that White Tiger, a character used in Born Again Season 1, was speaking out against police brutality with a very important Latin character that is not as huge of an impact in the comic books. Daredevil is one of the top 10, I'd say, Marvel characters. White Tiger is not. But the impact the character had was so huge and important. And it's an important character to a lot of people, and he got to be very important to a lot more people. And now the White Tiger character gets to be very important in a very honorable and authentic way by having the legacy character of his daughter, who in the comics is funny because the White Tiger character, a lot of people know, is now the daughter. Like, that's the character a lot of us identify as White Tiger, and to use the storyline to allow that daughter, that actress to come back and play the daughter in this way, and the things that happened in this episode to her mother, the wholesome, just good person trying to protect her neighborhood, and all of this going awry is something happening every day. So I'm I wanted to make this review about pride for the show taking these swings. Let's talk about the episode in broad real quick as we wrap out, now that I've done 5 minutes on just how much I love the statements it made. I also really appreciate iconography. I think, as I said about the Punisher, the complete misuse of his symbol drives me insane. And I love that they address that. But now we've got symbols being important. I love that Daredevil, the DD, adorning his chest means so much to comic fans, but they're using that as symbolism of rebellion, of what that represents is going to be its own thing. So we've got that symbol for Daredevil and how that's going to affect the people. We've got the symbol of Punisher on these dirty cops. We've got the rose becoming a symbol in this episode. I love how much we see this rose and what it's representing for the corruption from a wealth standpoint. Like, that Fisk U symbol in graffiti with the rose attached to it. Very interesting, because in the comics, obviously, the rose means a lot. In the Ben Affleck Daredevil, the rose was a strong symbol tied to Kingpin. In the comics, he's always, I think since his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man 50, has had a rose, like, as a lapel. His son, the Rose, is an important character, and they talk about generational ideas and legacy in this episode. Does his son become a thing? His son, the Rose, is his own crime lord. But anyway, the rose is a symbol tied to Kingpin. So I'm wondering if we're going to have, these three symbols kind of going at each other with the corruption of the cops, with Daredevil rebellion, with the obscene wealth in a rose. Bullseye's symbol is becoming tied to him, and I'm curious how that's going to play. This episode had a lot of really beautiful stuff with Bullseye, with him not just saving Daredevil at the end of episode 1, but now he's kind of watching Vanessa and keeping an eye on the situations and killing these broken, corrupt system cops, when he so chooses. That beautiful elevator shot. The blue that's haunting Vanessa, the nightmare of what that is very interesting, because we're getting a lot more Vanessa. We're getting her own agency. She's not just the mayor's Fisk's wife. She's actually her own character. Her wanting to get out of this, her being genuinely afraid, what that means for where things go. All of this, I think, setting up so much for street level vigilante things. Miss Marvel, I think, set up mutants really well. Wonder Man and this, I think, are setting up the idea of a world that hates and fears them really well. All of this lending to a new Marvel that isn't just characters unmasking and being welcomed by everyone. I think the adoring public needs to shift if we're going to have X-Men. So they're going to shift if we're going to change things with superheroes in the pop culture zeitgeist of the MCU. And using real-world moments and having really strong things to say is exactly what Daredevil should do. A lot of 70s and 80s Daredevil comics are exceptional because it was writers living in New York writing about New York, and you felt the pulse of the city at the time and the need to fix things at the time. I think it's really beautiful that now, 40 years later, this character that means so much to so many people is talking about not just New York, not just a city, not just one major city, but cities and a country. And Fisk is looking at expanding out, right, to the world. And this is making a commentary on our whole country and our whole world. And I think it's really inspiring. So I really liked this episode. I love the intercutting between the safety that Vanessa felt with Fisk and the moments of warmth and safety Karen and Matt felt with each other. Obviously paralleling the first season a lot, but doing a lot of really beautiful match cutting between the two of them. The worlds they're both living in. The lighting is always beautiful. The white pouring into every Fisk frame. The bright yellow reminding me of Netflix's bright light apartment, and then certain things that Daredevil would be able to cope with otherwise. But like, they use lighting so well. It's a very impressive show. I'm really loving the second season. Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead killing it, having control of the show, not having to do a hodgepodge amalgamation like they had to do with season 1. You can feel the confidence and the cohesion and the impact and the pacing. I think the show is masterfully paced, so well directed. The action choreography. I love the smile, the moment of the gun and the smile. I was wondering where that smile would incorporate into the show when we saw it in the trailer. It's used masterfully here. That smile means everything. And then the cliffhanger of Karen going rogue and kidnapping an agent and how that's going to change everything and what that's going to mean. So very interesting stuff going on. Very excited for next week. Please hit that subscription bell. We'll come back next week and talk about episode 3. Also going to be doing lots of movie and TV reviews on this page throughout the month, and every Saturday, usually, a live stream talking about the comics themselves. So please join me for all of that. I appreciate you. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of episode 2, season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. Are you digging this season so far? Are you digging all the Bullseye stuff percolating? You excited for Kingpin growing in ambition and power? Let me know in the comments below. Appreciate you. Bye.